Today is September 19, 2025. Antifa is trending again. And whenever that happens, the noise starts to drown out the clarity. Some claim Antifa is a violent mob. Others claim it's a secret organization. Some even try to convince people that anti-fascists are the real fascists. But here's the truth. The idea of anti-fascism is actually very simple. Let's break it down. Fascists, historically and today, stand for hate. That hate is not vague, it's directed and deliberate. The Nazis hated Jews, and 6 million were murdered in the Holocaust. They hated black people, who were segregated, sterilized, and then they murdered them. They hated Roma, LGBTQ people, political opponents, unions, and asylum seekers. Fascism thrives on identifying enemies and scapegoats. It builds power by saying your pain is their fault, and then it uses that anger to destroy democracy. At its core, fascism is about control through fear and hate. Now, what about Antifa or anti-fascists? Well, anti-fascists, whether in the 1940s or today, basically stand against fascists. That's it. The name explains itself. They don't hate people because of race, religion, sexuality, or nationality. They hate fascism. They hate the ideology that would erase entire groups of people. Now, let's look back at history. During World War II, the Allied powers were, by very definition, anti-fascist. They were the original Antifa. They fought Mussolini's Italy. They fought Hitler's Germany. They fought to stop a global movement that threatened freedom everywhere. And anti-fascists weren't just governments or armies. They were also partisans, underground resistance fighters, and ordinary people. In France, the resistance risked everything to sabotage Nazi control. In Germany, groups like the White Rose movement spread leaflets calling on Germans to resist Hitler. They didn't always win, but they stood up because to stay silent was to let hate win. So why do we even have to say this out loud? Because the pushback today is loud and coordinated. There is pushback. People like Speaker Mike Johnson, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and the fans of Charlie Kirk, and even his rival Nick Fuentes, they're all shouting the same line that being called fascist or being called Nazi is itself a hate crime being perpetrated on them by the liberal left. Now think about that. For a generation, these very same voices insisted there was no such thing as hate crimes. Not when it came to violence against people of color, not when it came to discrimination against LGBTQ people, not when it came to the lives actually destroyed by hate. They mocked the idea. They dismissed it. They said hate is just free speech. And now they're crying foul when the word fascist lands too close to home. Suddenly, labeling fascism for what it is becomes, in their eyes, the ultimate form of oppression. The irony is thick enough to cut with a knife. So let's name it. Who are the modern fascists? They are the politicians who seek to ban books, who silence teachers, who erase LGBTQ existence from schools and neighborhoods. They are the lawmakers who demonize immigrants and refugees as invaders. They are the leaders who turn crowds against journalists and call the free press the enemy of the people. They are the so-called influencers, the late Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, and the constellation of far-right media voices who churn out a steady stream of fear and resentment, who normalize white nationalism and wrap it in the flag. They are the elected officials like Speaker Mike Johnson who cloak their authoritarian goals in religion, insisting America is for Christians only. In fact, not just Christians, but their version of Christianity, narrowing freedom of religion into freedom for one religion. They are the political operatives who insist elections can only be legitimate if their side wins, who lay the groundwork for overturning democracy in favor of permanent minority rule, and yes, they are The mobs, too. Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, militias who show up with torches in Charlottesville or weapons at state houses who think violence is a legitimate tool for political power. That is fascism. That's the very definition of fascism. Not an insult, not a metaphor. It is a reality. And fascism is not just an American problem. Look around the world. In Hungary, there's Viktor Orban, who has dismantled democratic institutions piece by piece over the years, turning the press into a propaganda machine and rewriting laws to cement minority rule. In Russia, Vladimir Putin silences journalists, poisons his opponents, and wages wars of conquest under the banner of nationalism. People keep accidentally falling out of windows in Russia. His model of authoritarian control is textbook fascism, updated for the 21st century. In Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro tried to turn democracy into a dictatorship by attacking indigenous people, dismantling environmental protections, and fueling violent mobs to storm their own Congress. And in the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte unleashed a bloody war on drugs that left thousands dead, mostly poor people gunned down in the streets without due process. Today, he sits before The Hague. He actually got caught and arrested, and he's being held to account for crimes against humanity. That's fascism too. The state using terror against its own people and then insisting it was necessary. Textbook fascism. Now, these leaders across continents and cultures prove that fascism is not a relic of history. It's alive, it's adaptive, and it's waiting for the moments of fear and crisis when people are most vulnerable to its false promises. Meanwhile, the same script is at work as it has always been. Immigrants are blamed for economic problems. Religious minorities are accused of being disloyal. Queer and trans people are turned into political targets. Unions are painted as enemies of progress. It's the same playbook, only updated for social media soundbites and cable news outrage. And that is why anti-fascism is not optional. It's not optional to be Antifa. It doesn't mean you're part of a secret club. It doesn't mean you wear black and go breaking windows and throwing Molotov cocktails. It means you refuse to normalize hate. That's it. You refuse to shrug your shoulders at fascism creeping into mainstream politics. Now, fascists don't like when we point this out because it strips away their disguise. They want confusion. They want people to see anti-fascism as just another form of extremism. But clarity is powerful. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So here's the bottom line. Fascists hate people who are different. Anti-fascists hate fascism. Antifa hate fascism. That's the whole story. And maybe the real question isn't what does Antifa stand for, but why do we keep needing anti-fascists at all? The answer is sobering. Because fascism never stays dead. It lurks. It waits for fear. It waits for division. It waits for crisis. And when it rises, so too must those who refuse to let hate win. Antifa.